Hello. Yeah, um, today's Tuesday. We're doing a lot of people have been asking us for this. A lot of people have been giving us stick for this, but we're doing our Premier League predictions again because the first time was whilst the window was still happening, the season hadn't started yet, and now we're 4 games in, and all the window is done, all the transfers are done. So yeah, you guys can introduce yourselves.
Do we
Hello,
really have
everyone.
to?
George
What are we
VAHC.
doing?
We're back again.
You never know when there's new people, man. You never know.
Uh,
Yeah. So who wants to go first?
I mean, we've already decided who's going to go first, but yeah, I'll go first because
Yeah.
unluckily I have to dip in about 25 minutes. So let's do this. So drag mine up, CK, if you would. Right, here we go. Here we go, lads. So I'm going to start at the bottom. It's quite clear. So Norwich have looked terrible, as well as
Wait,
Watford.
before
Both
you
of them
go,
look terrible.
Kern,
There you
why
go.
don't you let us know the changes from last time, if there are any
Oh,
changes?
okay. So in terms of changes, I've changed. I'm going to make sure I bring up the last one as well, but the thing off the top of my head. So I've changed Chelsea and Liverpool, switched them. I've also made sure that I've also switched Leicester and Spurs as well. And then in terms of other things, I've moved Aston Villa from 13th to 11th, and I've moved therefore Brentford down from 11th to 14th, and then everything's kind of just shifted up from there. And I've also put Southampton, because this was before they got rid of Ings, so I put Southampton I had them at 12th, and now they are 17th, so they've just missed the drop. But for now, those are the main changes. Everything else is just consequential of those changes. So I still have us fourth. I think we're fourth. I think no Europe and no. I think the run-in helps us a lot as well, because as teams start to lose, sort of lose steam, then we'll start to pick up steam as well. So in terms of actually getting the table as I would have it, I mean, I started the last one by doing every game one by one, going off going off a predictor site. So I put in all the results and dragged it out, and from there I've now done the current ones, which I've just sort of looked at there, just on, well, where do I think things have changed since? So Leicester and Spurs, I think, are not going to make even a dent. I think from Liverpool, Arsenal till Spurs is going to be very close. I think that's my main thing. I think it'll be the top two, and then Liverpool will kind of be on their own, and then Arsenal, Man City, United, Leicester, Spurs. It's going to be a toss-up. It's going to be a fight. You can have maybe 3 or 4 points between fourth and maybe seventh. So in terms of like things that I would say stand out, Villa, I think, don't finish top 10. I don't think that there's much of a improvement there from last year. I don't think. I mean, you lose your best player and you replace them with 3 players. One of them's in jail. The other one is he's in jail, and the other one is a Bundesliga product that I don't know. I mean, Bailey is good, and I don't think he's a bad signing, but I don't think he's going to give you the same sort of outlet that Grealish would give you. So I don't know. I don't think they do very well. I like what I've seen from Wolves, though. I like Bruno Lage and how he started his tenure, but I don't think they'd crack the top 10. Palace as well. I like Vieira, but at some point you need experience in that team, especially in a 38-game season. And I think you're very susceptible to injuries with players that young, and you're very susceptible to a lull in the season. I don't think if they start to get some adversity and put against them, I don't see them being able to have the leaders in the squad to be sort of pick them up and be like, okay, this is what we want, this is what we need from you. other things, Brentford, I think, have a good season, and I think the rest of them are kind of just like the likes of Brighton, Newcastle, Southampton. I think they'll just stay up. I really hope this is the season that Brexit FC goes down. I think they will go down, Burnley. And no, CK? You don't think so? I think they finally go down.
Nah,
But
like, I don't want them to.
yeah, I think that's the main thing. You don't want them to go down. I hope they go down. I really do.
I think Dyche is underrated.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else to say. But the main thing is that title race. I don't think it's a. I think it's a two-man race, and I think it goes fairly deep. If you look at the run-ins as well, they both have similar sort of run-ins, and yeah, I think it will be. I don't think it will be a race that's gonna be over in say February. I think it will go to April, May. So we'll see.
Okay. Who's next?
But the big one, Arsenal top 4, Karen.
Top 4, Arsenal, no problem.
No problem.
Yeah, give me up, Chris.
Unless Ollie can actually coach a build-up that isn't 5-0-5, I don't really see them finishing top 4. They need to understand that then you need to have a midfield in your build-up play. You can't just have 4 defenders with Pogba sitting deep and try to hit runners and expect to finish top 4. It's just not a thing. So yeah.
Karen, so for it, Arsenal 4th, Man U 5th. What do you think the point difference? Where do you think Arsenal will get points wise and Man U will get points? What do you think they'll sit on at the end of the season?
Mm-hmm.
That was a question, bro.
I think we. So in terms of points, you're talking about how many points do you think we finish on, and how many points they finish on. So I have us finishing on about 70 to 73 points, or 74 points. I see Manchester United finishing about 70 to 72 points.
They're close.
And then Spurs and Leicester are very close, as I said. So maybe 3 or 4 points between 4th and 7th. I don't think it's going to be that. It's going to be very tight. So in terms of what's going to happen, I think there's going to be a tussle. So it could end up being any one of those teams finishing 4th. But I do think with our run-in, it gives us a ability to go with a better position than we may even deserve in the season, especially with no Europe and less of an injury load on our players. So could be wrong. Could finish 8th. You never know. But I see us coming 4th.
Okay. So I'm guessing George is next. Is Meek. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it short and sweet because I'll just let you know there's been no changes. I very much think with the business, really the only question mark I had was United and Arsenal, to be honest with you. And I felt that the Ronaldo at the end was a poor piece of business. And I've said it before on the timeline. I don't think that balance-wise, this was the move for them to make. I think it throws off their frontline balance. I think it confirms Sancho on the right wing. I think it confirms a lot of things that you don't want to see if you're a United fan, in my opinion. You know, not addressing McTominay in your pivot and having him as the only pivot option. We've seen as far as young boys today what that does to their team. And, you know, there wasn't an issue about saying it was not enough first team players. There wasn't X, Y, and Z. There was no issue to play for. They had their first team, and we saw what has happened. If you look back at their games, they struggled against Wolves, struggled against Southampton. Even in the game in terms of Newcastle, Freddie Woodman helped them out on a really nice little goal. You know, fair play to go 4-1, but I don't feel that Ronaldo's inclusion into the team is going to be good for balance, something that they've continuously, done well in all these tenure. That's the one thing that they've really succeeded in. And so for me, the question became Arsenal United. And, you know, I'm very much a case of having secured Ramsdale since then, having secured Tomiyasu, who I think are excellent signings, and really secure that back line. I think that we ended up doing better business than United at the end in terms of where I've had them. And we were very close, in my opinion, from the off. And if they'd gotten a midfield pivot, I was thinking, yeah, that's a way for them to get up another level, something that they haven't done, but they didn't manage to do that. So for me, I'm similar to Curran. I have us on very similar points. It's going to be within 1 point from 4th to 7th. You know, I don't know exact numbers. I don't really do that. That's ridiculous. But that 4th to 7th is going to be within a point of each other. So all of these teams are going to be very, very tight. I think Man City run away with the league, to be honest with you. I think Chelsea are the closest challengers, but I do think that they run away with the league. And I think Liverpool just have a squad that's being really underrated lately, and I don't understand it. I think Leicester and Leeds have a much better squad and tactics over Spurs. I think right now when I've looked at Nuno, even the first couple games, he's actually been a lot worse tactically than even I foresaw. And I think that they're going to really struggle to close out games. And I think the teams above them in Leeds and Leicester have more complete squads. And, they've been around longer. So I don't know, despite Harry Kane saying, if they're able to continue on their performance levels. I think they're going to be a moments team, and I don't know if that's going to necessarily suffice. I think going into the bottom, I'm happy with my choices of Southampton. We did kind of predict Vestergaard leaving, and he did in fact leave. And I think looking at their performances, you can kind of see that Southampton and Norwich are almost certainties to go down at this point. I think Watford and Newcastle are lucky to kind of beat the drop, but for me, Watford have too much scoring potential to keep them up. And, that's really something that Burnley are going to struggle with. Maybe I should switch Southampton and Burnley in terms of closeness, but I think these relegated sides are going to be similar to the 4th to 7th, where it's going to be a point or two. I think Norwich are going to be significantly down, but Burnley and Southampton are going to be quite close in terms of points. I don't find that Norwich are going to really compete, to be honest with you. And I think in the middle of the pack, I'm pretty happy in terms of what I had initially chosen. I think based on, transfer window endings, I don't think none of the teams between 16th and maybe 8th really change their starting 11s. So I think West Ham are definitely going to do well. Antonio started the season well. Rafa Benitez has shown his coaching magnitude already, changing the game. In his last outing, really, his tactical switch. So I'm really happy with what I've seen, to be honest with you. I really only see the Manchester United and Arsenal as being the point of contention, if I'm being really honest with you. And that really comes down to my effect on Ronaldo. I really do believe, and I've predicted, even when he was linked in the prediction video, that this would be very bad for Manchester United. I felt as though that there were other priorities. Getting a Tchouaméni was absolutely top of the list, and they should have gotten somebody like that as opposed to a Ronaldo. Their issue wasn't scoring goals. It was making sure that they had a midfielder build up to compete, and they just, without McTominay, they don't. So for me, it's a struggle for them.
Okay.
Norwich, sorry. It's a North American thing, guys.
So I just want to ask George, which team do you have finishing bottom again?
Norwich.
Norwich.
Hopefully we fixed it.
Mm.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, at this point, I did a video and now I can't stop it. That's the problem. So that's the issue with this pronunciation, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Anyway,
So the only thing I want to ask is Everton over Villa. Do you really? That's the only contentious that.
No,
Yeah.
heck no. Oh my God, no. Look at how Villa started. I don't think that Emi Martinez continues his vein of form, and Rafa Benitez as a coach is just far and away better than Dean Smith. I think their squad is also better than Villa's. Villa had really good recruitment, but overall Everton have a better quality squad along with a better manager. So for me, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I actually don't even think that's contentious.
No.
Yeah, they're coming. Don't worry.
Yeah, I was saying the comment to chill, but the attackers are on form as well. Damari Gray has scored 3 out of 4.
He always starts well, though. Damari Gray always starts well, and it'll hit her off.
He's had a great start.
Yeah, he will fall off, but for 1.5 million, 4 goals is definitely a lot.
And to be honest with you, even with the opening fixtures, despite our form, and I've always maintained my view about how I view Arsenal and Arsenal's season, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I'll be honest with you. I was having a look at my table and I said pretty spot on. I don't really feel anybody's done enough to go higher really in their table, in my opinion. The only contentious is maybe Newcastle, but I know that they're not starting well because of Callum Wilson. Like that effect will come into the middle of the season and they'll find themselves a lot higher up than they are right now. So, but yeah. I think Willow might have some opinions on the 4th of Arsenal call and my opinion on United. But unfortunately, I just don't think Leicester right now. Also, they're not going to be playing Samare, and I think it backs up a little bit too, in my opinion, where I thought he was going to be a starter from the off, and then now I don't see him playing. And look, that can change mid-season, but the longer that he's out of the starting 11, the longer that you reduce your likelihood of picking up maximum points. Do I think Ronaldo? No, I've done it on purpose. I don't think United's issues last season were goal-related. They weren't searching for goals, unlike us, who were searching for goals. They were searching for midfield control. They were searching for a connection between back to front. And, that United team, as much crap as I would like to give them, fundamentally, they have ball strikers and they have people that get you goals. Ronaldo doesn't solve those issues for them. He doesn't solve issues in transition. You don't solve kind of what we saw at Young Boys today. He'll get you goals, sure, but you're going to lose control of the game.
And you're going to lose pressing from Cavani.
Mm-hmm.
So
all I'm going to say, as I said with my thing, if you're going to coach a team that is based on transition play and trying to exploit ball striking via trying to get players free because you don't have the attacking coaching setup, you don't have the build-up patterns, you don't have the specific coaching to maintain sustained pressure. If you don't have that, and you want to rely on transition ball to get players free so they can strike balls, it's not a system where you can continuously rely again and again and again in a 38-game season. You need to be able to have sustained pressure to create situations that allow you to get people in good positions to create shots. If you
Kurt,
don't
I don't even
have
think,
that,
no offense, I don't even think it needs to be tactical. We have the proof in the pudding with Young Boys. We have the proof. Like, if anybody watched that game and the narrative of that game, and it wasn't just the red card, by the way. Like, it wasn't just that. They weren't having control of that midfield. And, part of the issue is I don't believe that without McTominay, that's the big issue. If you don't have somebody else in there, they don't have an ability to necessarily control changes. And Ollie has scared me in terms of his changes. A big issue that we had on the prediction pod was, how is Ollie going to accommodate Ronaldo? So I don't think it's the right move to make, but let's put that to a side. How is he going to accommodate him? And he's continuously kind of hampered some of the big signings. Sancho has had a horrid start to the season, and that's not just on him. We kind of predicted that being on the right wing, didn't we? But he's pulled him off. He's knocked his confidence. I don't think that's a very smart thing to do. You're replacing Martial for Fred. Some of the substitutions that he made today were just absolutely amateurish. They really were. You're replacing Ronaldo for Lingard. Like, I don't think people understand now that when you have Ronaldo, you have a superstar in your team, he's guaranteed to start. That has knock-on effects on every single part of your team. And if you don't address the midfield pivot and you don't address, Kern makes a joke about having a 5-0-5. Well, we saw that in Wolves. We saw that in Southampton. It's exactly.
I mean, it's not a joke. It's what they did.
No, I know, and I know, like, we meet it a little bit facetiously, but factually, this is unfortunately what it is. And look, I just don't understand the beak that United fans get. You can clip this, save it, whatever you want, but at the end of the day, they just don't have enough midfield control. And when they face top teams, they don't succeed. When they face teams that are open and allow them to dictate play, then sure, they're ball strikers and they have efficiency monsters. They're gonna score goals, but that's just not sustainable over an entire league campaign. And by the way, I think last year they consistently underperformed their XG, which is ridiculous to me. And so they were one of the teams that really did that. They didn't create enough chances, and so I don't think that lasts. Last year really was an anomaly in terms of how they were able to do it. So, yeah. And maybe lastly, I'll just answer Nafe's question, and then we can move on to someone else's table. But do I think that Brendan is playing Maddison over Iheanacho to justify keeping him and not selling him to Arsenal? I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think Maddison's a leader in their team, period, end of story, and I think he helps them a lot tactically. He may have had a poor start to the season, but he's their counter press. He's their orchestrator. I don't think, he himself is kind of just doing it in a sense that I'm going to keep him because he didn't get his move and I need to keep playing him. I just think he's one of their better players. I do think, however, he stops them changing formations, and they've clearly bought towards a 4-4-2. So the longer that they delay that, and Maddison can fit it, but not great, but he can fit that. It's just you don't get two strikers. And so for me, I don't even know if Iheanacho is the issue right now. I really think the issue for me is not having Samari starting, which you can with Maddison. That's the biggest issue for me, and continuing to have Tielemans, who's also on a some kind of odd situation. He's got a weird contract offer, but he's an undroppable, which I don't understand. For me, I don't feel that Tielemans is actually worth a lot of what people talk to him about. So for me, Samari should be in there as soon as he can. and then you can add, your Daka and your Iheanacho partnership later on. But no, I don't think Mattis or Brendan is kind of doing it to spite his face in a sense. I just think Madison's one of their better players, and so you need to have him on the pitch. And I tend to agree. I think just the issue is not playing Samare and others in the team that he is choosing to play them over.
Okay, so that's George's table. Take a final look at it. Norwich is bottom so far twice. Next, we're gonna do Z. Let's see if Norwich are bottom third time.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Love it.
It's my first time seeing it. It's okay.
Perfect, isn't it? Go on,
I
Z.
love it.
I didn't realize Brentford was that bad.
I told you.
Yeah, I'm glad it's that bad.
Ivan Tony.
No, but honestly, like I can't personally like see much of a change. I mean, if there's only any change, Brentford would have been 18th place rather than 20th. So that could have been the only change. But honestly, I can't see much of a change. I've tried to look at every other team in the league in the last few weeks, and not much has changed either in terms of like the transfers as well. So not like the teams haven't like drastically changed. Even like Chelsea, Manchester United. Even though they brought in someone like Ronaldo, I was expecting they would bring someone like a right back and a center midfielder in that could have changed, their team's position. But they didn't. They decided to take an easy way out. So no, I can't see much of a change in terms of my choice on Arsenal. I decided to go fourth, and that was with the transfers in mind, by the way. So because not much has changed in terms of that as well. We got the attacking midfielder, we got in the right back. I can't see us dropping down as well. And to be fair, look, I think it's probably a weak argument for many, but I feel like just having the one game a week helps us a lot. And I basically put in a personal target of mine. I feel like 67 points will get us top 4. So right now we're on 3 points. We're 64 points away from getting Champions football. But this is how I'm looking at it. And I feel like, just looking at the trends in the last few years, what the amount of points that gets you top 4, around, if you get more than 65 points, you're very much within a good chance of getting the Champions League. So that's my points predictions for Arsenal. But honestly, I can't see much of a change either. I feel like I can see Crystal Palace being a bit higher than most are predicting, and that's just because of their youthful team, and even someone like Edward actually helps them a lot more than you'd think. But everybody else, even someone like Wolves, that people predicted them to be a bit higher, I can't see them being a bit higher, but just purely because the way they play football it's okay. But the fact is they don't finish the dinner, and at the end of the day, that will end up like causing them troubles in the future. But I don't know if you guys want to ask me questions about my predictions on the table.
Why? The obvious question is, why is Brentford so low? That's the obvious question.
No, just purely because I feel like despite that first game where Arsenal obviously had to lose, I just don't see them as a team that can go and play other teams and just get points. I feel like we'll see them going on a tangent where they'll just lose games after games, and sooner or later you look at the league and you'll be like, there's like 5-6 games left in the season, and Brentford are almost down to get relegated. That's how I feel. I personally just can't see Brentford winning that many games, despite the aura that everybody pretends that they have, which I think is all fake, anyways. So.
Well, no, I think actually like your point total for Arsenal, which I think everyone's kind of laughing at, just Arsenal in general, but we've all kind of done this. I think it's totally realistic. I don't think people are understanding that, we finished on 61 points and then we increased in 3 starting positions factually, plus added depth, and then have 1 game a week, which, reduces the schedule and likelihood of injuries that we were facing last season. in terms of our schedule. So if you don't think that another 3 or 4 wins can happen next season with an improved starting 11 and 3 spots, in addition to depth signings and in addition to a less working schedule, then yeah, I don't find that unrealistic. I think my one question was Brentford as well, but you got that answered. Then I think the last one was just, what about Liverpool? Like, I mean, with Harvey Elliott's injury now, you don't put Chelsea to have a second in there. I don't know if they've got depth, and I doubt that they buy in Jan.
You see, despite everybody calling me like a massive like closet Chelsea fan, I still like try to look between the lines for Chelsea, and I look at the team, and I realize there's a massive part of Chelsea that's going to get exposed this season. And I feel it, in my veins, just purely based even on the last 2 games. I'm just looking at the team, and I'm looking at it like, if there's a team out there that could exploit them, it'll be coming in the next couple of weeks or coming months, because their midfield is easily now getting exploited, especially. And now sooner or later, it'll go the opposite way, where Chelsea do not end up winning, and it could go into a negative spiral, and Chelsea could end up, losing a couple of games and losing their heads. I feel like, even though Lukaku is their cheat code, that doesn't last very long. That you can't outweigh, not creating chances and getting overrun in midfield every game and getting Mendy to debut. I just can't see it. That's why, even though I feel like third is a good place for Chelsea at this moment of time, like I feel like it's the right place as well. I feel like I can't see them being any higher than third, honestly.
Oh, okay. So that's Z's. So he didn't have Norwich. He didn't have Norwich last, and I want to save Willow for last. So I'll go. You guys thought the others were optimistic.
Wow.
Yeah. So for me, this basically the same bottom 3 as last time. I don't know why. Yeah, the same bottom 3 as last time. Southampton bottom 3. They just they lost 2 of their key players in Vestergaard, Ings. Salisu looks good, but I'm not sure he'll be enough to push them out of the bottom 3. But I think the bottom 5 will be tight, because the Newcastle might even drop in there just because of Wilson. It looks like he's out for a month or 2 maybe, so that will hurt them, considering that next month is when games start heating up at the end of it. So yeah, obviously Burnley, I think Sean Dyche is a bit underrated, to be honest, because.
But what about goals, though, CK? So, I agree with you. I think he's massively underrated. But the biggest thing for me when you look at relegation fights is knocking up goals. And for me, that's really the biggest difference when I looked at Watford and Burnley. You don't think that maybe – because I think they have similar organization, but
they
I think
do.
Watford have more
I just
goals.
think it – it's just a feeling, to be honest. I think they're close, to be honest, Watford and Burnley. And Watford do have more scoring potential. I think Burnley will concede probably less goals than Watford because of their system, but I just think in the end it may come down to experience, because Watford, they always stay close till the end, but they always seem to fall off, and they lost their most experienced player in Troy Deeney. So Watford will be close again. I don't think it is guaranteed, but yeah.
I think your whites are pretty explanatory. They're not much different than a lot of the guys, but I think the biggest question that I'm gonna also pop up is I don't know why Liverpool's 4th as much, and I kind of agree on kind of your 5th, 6th. They're very similar to mine, but I just don't understand the Liverpool fall off as much. Is that because of Harvey Elliott?
It's not really a fall off. I think it will be seriously tight, and it could even switch. It's partly optimism, but just on Liverpool's depth as well. They carry so many injuries. There's even been a picture going around Twitter of their depth 4 games ago and their depth now, and they have maybe 10 injuries already going into this season. So they just pick up injuries very quickly, and losing Harvey Elliott, who started 3 of their 4 games, isn't good, because now Henderson or Ox will have to come in and they get injured frequently as well. So Elliott was right centre mid and right wing depth which is gone now. And now in the front line, the only depth they have is Minamino, and Firmino's injured. So they have no front line depth, and they have to play Champions League and League Cup this within a week. So Liverpool and Mane is underperforming XG. So yeah, it's optimistic, definitely. Like, it's very optimistic, and it could very much not happen. But I definitely think we're getting top 4. I just put the optimism into getting third, to be honest. And yeah, United falling off, as you've seen already. United have their full guy, it seems, in Sancho. He's the guy that a lot of people, he's their scapegoat, as I said he would be. I love the player, and he's one of the best left wingers in the world, but he's been playing right wing now and being taken off in the 35th minute of games, like, which after the first 4 games where he's getting hammered, and then an injury, a red card happens, and he's the one that gets taken off, it's gonna kill his confidence, to be honest. And he's the one who's been getting scapegoated by their fan base, and I've watched a lot of United fans talk about their team, and it seems they've already set up their excuses going into this season will be Oli Tax and Sancho not translating well. So I really think,
but he's not translating well because the idiot's having him over at right wing. Like, I'm sorry, like, let's have it right. Like, we all said it in our prediction, and what's crazy is, CK, I'm with you, by the way, and like, I just couldn't stop it. Like, I love Sancho. I love him as a player. He's world class. Don't get it twisted. But the reason that we're seeing this type of Sancho is because you stick him over on the right wing, and then chucking him off early at a red card is just craziness to me in terms of man management. And like, that whole idea of how Ole has like responded to any kind of pressure with his subs makes me think in the league season he's going to replicate this. This isn't just because it was young boys. This was because this is the first time he's had to respond to adversity, and I just didn't see it. And I've always felt that Ole didn't have that, but at least he had game winners in their team. But Ronaldo, the one thing he doesn't do, by the way, he may add goals and he adds another ball striker, which they had plenty. He does not fix their transition. At least Sancho did in theory. And so that's why that was a plus. But if you're going to play him at right wing, that's gone. That doesn't help. So, yeah, I don't know.
And like with their front line options, so it's boiled down to who's playing on the wings, because even against young boys, Ronaldo's starting. So it's boiled down to where am I playing on the wings? And as for a front line player, especially the guys like Rashford and Greenwood, there's now one less position that you can start in. So it becomes more of a fight of the wings. But yeah, like when Rashford comes in, Martial's going to see less of the pitch. Lingard will see less of the pitch. Sancho will probably see less of the pitch. So it will. Yeah, Rashford has even come back from injury, and yeah, like I really think the United hype will simmer down as we go on into the season. They've only really looked good versus Leeds, and Leeds are made for them. They weren't good versus Wolves, and they won because of a good strike from Greenwood. They weren't that good versus Newcastle. They were okay, and then their ball striking came into effect with the Ronaldo goal and Bruno's screamer. So
what do you think happens with Pogba? Do you think he breaks the assist record?
No, I think he's on a purple patch, but I think he does do well on the assists, though. I don't think it's quite as easy as like 12 assists. Like I've seen something ridiculous that people think like he's only going to get a couple more after this. I think he'll do really well. I think he'll actually get close to the assist record. But I also don't know if he stays. Like, I'm wondering what his mindset is, and that really plays into effect because
he's been offered a contract. So
yeah,
Ornstein also came out and said that he is thinking of signing it.
Well, things are going well. Like, I want to see another couple of weeks of things go down, and then we got Pogba back to square one. But I don't know. I think S has got a question. Just should United have not signed Sancho because he was always going to be a right winger when Rashford's fit?
Yep.
Okay. Well, if you're going to play him right wing, I don't agree personally. I don't think Rashford is good enough that I'm going to say you're always my left winger. I think Sancho's a world class buy no matter what. And by the way, Shaw and Sancho is one of the best partnerships in the league. Period. And they fit each other very, very well. So for me, I don't think the reason of signing Sancho was bad, but if you aren't going to play him, then yeah, absolutely. There were a lot better players. I've said to a lot of people on fans, I wish they would have gotten Kareem Adeyemi and Chouameni. That would have been my window for the price of Jadon Sancho. And I think that would have balanced their front line a lot more than what we've seen. And I don't include Ronaldo. So yeah, for me, I think Sancho was a bad signing if you're only going to play him on the right. But signing Jadon Sancho is never a bad signing. That guy's world class. So, yeah. And a lot of crap's being said online about him. You know, if you're going to look at him as a scapegoat, think again. That boy is special. It's just, you know, he's playing in a really bad position. And, you know, this is why balance is important, though, Chris. Like, I think people think that you're just a tactical because you're very specific about where people play. No, it isn't. Like, where people prefer to go is important. It matters about their performance. So, yeah.
Like we saw, just to stay on United, we saw in a prime example of last season, Pogba seemed good on the left, but it was to detriment of Rashford because he played on the right and was nowhere near the same caliber. Why? Because as a player, he just can't see the pitch as well on the right, and he loves to cut in and shoot anyways, and that's taken away from him when he plays right wing. So when you play Sancho right wing without an overlapping right back, because we've seen him get world-class numbers in the right wing, but that was with the best wing back in the world, Hakimi, who was consistently overlapping him and combining with him, but he doesn't have the same level with Wan-Bissaka, who does get forward nowadays, but he's nowhere near as potent as Hakimi or as much of a threat.
If he does go forward, though, Chris, he underlaps, if anything.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And, you know, Jadon is not explosive enough to go on the overlap. That's not his game. He's not going to go in to out as a movement. He can do it. Don't get me wrong. He can go in and out both sides. He's world class, but he doesn't have that ability to continuously do it. And he doesn't want to whip in across. That's not his game. He wants to go in and attack the box, join into play. In fact, he's the perfect of that pseudo 10 that I keep going on about on Twitter. Like that is Jadon Sancho. And so give him the players to combine with, you know, and I don't know. I just think that what they've done really unbalances everything. It puts players where they don't want to be. Bruno's output is going to suffer because of Ronaldo. And, you know, you might see them switch assists, but, you know, Bruno won't be getting that same output. They can coexist.
He's not taking pens. Like Ronaldo's the senior.
Well, exactly. And so, like, I mean, your output's going to fall. I mean, I don't necessarily means that your overall goal output falls, though. And that's my biggest issue that I've been trying to slam home to people. Like, their issue wasn't scoring goals. Their goal difference in the goals for column is going to be the exact same, maybe slightly better. Their goals against, though, is going to be a lot less because they haven't addressed the transition and their midfield control.
Yeah, and obviously I have City winning the league, and I think they needed a striker, but they're so good that they can put 5 past us without a striker. Like they're a serious outfit. Like the way they create chances is unlike anybody else in the league, and they create chances at will, and it just one person can go on form in that team full of world-class players, and I think they're just the best team in the league right now. And I think Chelsea will probably give them a run for their money, but I think at the end they'll pull away because like also want George to shut up just in case Ollie is watching. Oh, but yeah, Ollie probably doesn't know because Ollie hasn't never coached a build-up, organized press, attacking patterns, transition shape. But they really struggle in transition, and I wish they got a DM. Well, if I was a United fan, I really would have wished I got a DM. I get the sentiment of Ronaldo and the money that it's going to earn them, but I really don't think it was the right move. So enough on me. You've seen my optimism. Yeah, and I did have Norwich bottom. So let's go into the last one. Willow.
The boys are not happy with me. I like optimism. I like to think that, you know, it'd be great if we can finish 4th or 3rd, but I don't know. I'm not sure with us. I think our squad depth isn't there to be able to go and do that. The players we're having to rely on They are very young. Our main attackers we're looking at this season are Smith Rowe, our Saka. They are very young. Last season they even had like little burnouts that so that could easily happen again. I've even seen it in other players I really like from other teams. Look at Mason Mount. I thought in the last kind of seasons I've seen him have burnouts for like a month or two, and that's because he's young. So I can easily see that happening for us again. I think. We're heavily reliant, I think, on Thomas Partey. I think even in that Norwich game, I think it showed it that we needed someone like Thomas Partey to come on and actually make that key pass for us to score. We've got a lot of new faces in as well, so you kind of got to see what they do. I do agree that they do improve our squad, but you do have to rely on them for the full season, and there is a lot of changes in Arsenal. So I think that's where I start with the Arsenal thing. I guess I'll get a lot of questions on that. Also, Norwich 20th. I think we've all agreed, apart from Z, they're a hopeless case. They are every year. They come for the Premier League money and they go back down. That's what they come for, the paycheck. Burnley. The thing is, I've always been a big Sean Dice advocate. Where I've gone, Burnley will not go down without Sean. When Sean Dice is there, they won't do it. But as George brought up earlier, where's the goals coming from? Like, where are they coming from?
Chris Wood is a serious striker.
And Dwight McNeil's a really good player, by the way, nice young player. But he's more of like that, like left mid. But again, I'm with you guys. I don't know where the goals come from. Watford, I'm surprised. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna back Watford. I keep questioning everybody in their table on Watford. What do you think? Southampton don't miss out.
I don't know.
Especially with what's happened.
Yeah. But Southampton just seems to kind of, again, they'll have that really bad patch, but they'll go on a little run. Each season they go on a little run where they actually get results go their way. They'll beat a big team. They'll beat one of the big six team, and then they might leapfrog that and then carry on going on that run. So I feel like they still have they brought up Armstrong. He's a decent striker. He's done very well in the Championship. I mean, they still have Shea Adams, who is a bit inconsistent, but on his day he can be very good. Ward-Prowse is a big reason why I think Southampton could stay up. He's very good with set pieces, and they favour off that a lot as well. So they've got a lot of threat in set pieces. So I think that's what keeps Southampton up this season. And also, I love the signing of Livramento. Like, what a quality right back he is.
And Thierry Small.
and Thierry Small, exactly. That's
Don't get me started.
That's George's wet dream right there. Is them players.
I'm hoping they get relegated so that we can pick them up, mate.
They'd be cheap, seriously cheap.
But then you've got, I've got Crystal Palace middle of the pack. Vieira's done well so far. I think, once he actually gets players back from injury and they get Eze and Ollis starting, I think I can't wait to watch Palace play week in, week out, because I think they'll be really exciting to watch, especially as they're playing the 4-3-3. I don't think Wolves are going to do as well as what some people are thinking they are. As much as I've got them 14th, I don't know. I've watched.
No, you know what, mate? Like, I don't actually mind this table. Look, I'll question the Arsenal.
I just don't. He needs to go to the top. Then go to the top.
Yeah, because the couple things are Villa. I don't know why. I'll definitely question you on Villa. And why do you think Leicester have a more complete squad than Arsenal? Let's say at this point.
And then why do you think Chelsea win the league?
Why do I think Chelsea win the league? I just right. Okay, so I'll go Chelsea first. I've had, to be honest, I've had Man City at the top the whole summer, but it's just the Lukaku signing and Man City missing out on that striker is just so big for me. They're missing out on that striker. Can they finish off games? I don't know. Sometimes they got that 1-0 against Leicester, but it's just finding that guy who, when games aren't going their way, and we've seen that happen with City where games aren't going their way, can someone grab it by the scruff on their neck and actually put it in the back of their net? And I don't know if they've got that in the striker. While Chelsea, they do.
So I think the big question I'll have for you, Willa, just to push back a little bit, is City have shown that they don't need a striker to win the league, but have Chelsea shown that they don't need a midfield to switch formations, when inevitably a back three isn't going to suffice, because we haven't seen a back three last more than 18 months in the Premier League period. So it'll take some feat to do that for the rest of the season. Do you think what Chelsea have not addressed in midfield to go to a back four is worse than what City haven't done in a striker when they've shown not to win a league? without a striker.
Personally, I don't know. One, I also think City are going to focus more on the Champions League this year. That's the jewel in their crown they want. I feel like they will focus towards that. So that's a big thing. I also think, I know you said 18 months, but look, Chelsea, Thomas Tuchel came in halfway through the season, so they've only been doing it for 6 months. So they do have that 12-month period of having that complete 18 months where maybe the season, like at the end of this season, they transition into. What are you laughing at?
This tight.
You got him with the timings.
Well, we never seen it past 18 months, so it'll be some freaking feat if he can last the whole season. But yeah,
I think we're already seeing crumbles with.
I think we've seen cracks as well. But I mean, I don't think it'll be this early. But by Christmas, I think we'll see a different formation for sure.
Potentially. But then it's also, you got to look at as well. It's Chelsea Football Club. If things aren't going their way, they'll go and fucking sign someone. If they need a DM
in Jan though.
Yeah, even in Jan, it's Chelsea Football Club. Roman Abramovich does not care. He's a cold-blooded killer. He does not care what if he wants to go out and get a £50 million midfielder in January. He'll do it if that means.
I just don't know if there's been precedent though. Like I agree with you, Will. Like he's that type of owner. It's just has there been precedent in January, even in the last 5 Januaries, where everyone's had money and problems to fix? Has anybody done that?
Liverpool did it when they sold Coutinho and then got.
That's what I mean, but that's a big thing, and they knew about that from the previous summer, right? Like that was a very special case scenario. I don't know. Has there been precedent in terms of somebody doing a big fit? Like if they had got a pivot player, I'm actually with you. I would actually have Chelsea first if they had got some kind of pivot player, not Saul Niguez, who I think is inconsequential to their move to a 4.
He was awful, by the way. In his first
yeah,
game.
well,
I don't. Half time, he was terrible.
Yeah, we predicted that.
Yeah,
but...
I was telling my friends that it was shocking to see, but that's what that's why I've got Chelsea there for now. Look, it's very interchangeable. It's not like I'm going 100% Chelsea are going to win it. City could, as I said, I've had City there the whole summer, to be honest. So I just think maybe Lukaku can get him over the line with that one, and then you got Man City obviously second, Liverpool third. I think.
Fair, yeah.
I'm very disappointed with Liverpool, I must admit, at what they've done. You've got a Jurgen Klopp, one of the best managers in the world, and they haven't backed him. And I think it's a bit sad this year, really, because I really think they could have challenged for the title this year. If they got backing, they could have really done something this year. And just getting a Konate, and I think it's just a bit of a slap in the face.
Even something, Willow, mate. Like they were linked with Jeremy Doku. Like even if they had one more attacking depth addition, it was not even crazy. Like Doku would have cost no more than 30-40 million pounds.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't have. They didn't need to spend huge money this summer to actually do it either. They just needed to spend smart, which Liverpool we know are very good at that, is spending smart. And it's just disappointing to. Sorry,
quickly, not to cut you off, but anything, but like the best January signings of the past 5 years are like Aubameyang, who fell out with his club. Obviously Van Dijk, Laporte, and Ndidi.
Okay.
In January.
Well, if someone's going to change it, it's going to be Chelsea Football Club. They were the one that changed this transfer market. Let's remember that and what they did. Arsenal for the first time. This is the first time we've actually, I think, outspent Chelsea since their 2003 window. And to say that is fucking crazy. But just to finish off on Liverpool, I just think third place. I think it's a bit disappointing for their fans, really, and I think they're not going to really take it that well. But it's good for us to see. Edwards is also gone as well, so the destruction of Liverpool is coming. Man U fourth, I think. All of you have predicted Man U to come outside top 4, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm the only one to say I feel like they will get top 4. Ole, I don't.
Which again is tight. Like I don't know. Like, do you believe that 4th to 7th is as tight as what we've predicted as well, though? Like, I understand that the placings are a little bit different and they're only by 1, but I think like that's a point. Like 4th to 5th, I legitimately think could be a point or 2. Do you think it's that close, or do you think there's actually a delineation of top 4 this year?
I don't know. I don't know with Arsenal this year. I don't know if there's going to be enough consistency.
Oh, not just Arsenal, just like period, like from 4th to 7th.
Period. Yeah. I mean, potentially. It depends really. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think there could be about 4 points in it. I don't think it'll be much. I don't think it'll be a lot.
So you think it's going to be like last season, but not 1 point? Because last season there was like 6 points between 4th and 8th.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I do think it will be something like that. I think it might be. There'll be 8-9 points in between them kind of positions. Yeah. But it's just Man U just have so much firepower. They've got so much to bring in and bring on into that pitch.
And I think I think that's a bit detrimental to them, to be honest, because it becomes unsettled.
I don't know, because I know
Can't
we talk about like, oh yeah, you know, they need to be beating the big teams and that, but end of the day, you know, Arsenal, we should know it ourselves. You know, we made top 4 for years out of beating the little teams. That's what we did. We beat the smaller teams. We didn't beat the big teams. We didn't beat Chelsea. We didn't beat United a lot of the times. We never really did that. It was just, you know, we were very consistent against the bottom half of the league, and that's what Man U are doing. And that's what I look at maybe in Arsenal. I think, well, hang on a minute. That's what we struggle with. We didn't get in we got in a Martin Odegaard, but that's all we got in. And we talked about all summer that if we only get in a Martin Odegaard and we don't get in an hour, or if we don't get another centre mid, then we don't really know if it's going to work. And we didn't do that. We didn't. And, you know, we're going to have to.
Right back.
We got a right back. We did get a right back, which is good. And that's what.
And a goalkeeper. And
a goalkeeper.
And an upgrade on centre back.
Yeah.
But we already said, but that's the thing, though, that's not new things for us. We already, apart from the right back, we said that we were going to get goalkeeper. We said that we were going to get an upgrade in centre back. So
I think centre mid is probably midfield is where we may have wanted different profiles, me and you included, right, Willow? And I guess that was the big thing. But, you know, I don't know. The only thing that I'll just kind of retort is like when we looked at that pivot that we, you know, there was that stat going around in terms of Granit, you know, and we're looking at progressive passes to defensive actions, right? And, you know, I think we're the only team with 2 teams in the top 90th percentile of that chart.
And we have 2 in the top 4.
That's what I mean. We're the only one with a concerted pair pivot in there. And look, as much as I'm not a fan of, you know, Granit and moving on him, the facts were like those were kind of where they're at. Like I'm wondering with one game, do you not think that United's depth in midfield is going to be a problem with the games that they face?
No, I do think, you know, their depth in midfield is going to be a problem, but do I think it'll be a problem enough to, you know, concede them to, you know, 5th, 6th? You know, they finished 2nd last year, so I've knocked them down 2 places of what they have been, you know, what they finished the season before. But okay, you know, McTominay is their main guy who needs to be in that midfield, but at the end of the day, I just think they'll outscore other teams. You know, I think if I look at their team on paper, you know, that Luke Shaw is, for me, one of the best left backs in the world. You know, they've got Jadon Sancho, one of the best wingers in the world. Like, you've got 2 of that already in your team, despite if he gets played right or not. I always thought he was going to have a slow start.
He's one of the best centre-backs in the world, and that's not a joke.
Yeah. He's very good. You know, he is very good. So they've got so much. You know, you got Cristiano Ronaldo who can finish. I think he'll do a bit better than what you boys think he'll do. I think he will get more goals than what you boys are saying. Bruno Fernandes, I think he does have a bit more in his locker than what people think he did today. Did you see the pass he made today? The quality he has is unreal. Bruno Fernandes, as much as he can be inconsistent in other games. You know, where you will see him go missing. He does have that magic moment of.
Can I do Willow though one quick, because I think a lot of fans share your pessimism, so I think this is like a worthy debate. And you know, I think the one question I'll ask is, if I told you Aubameyang of 2 seasons is your Aubameyang striker, does that change your calculus?
Yeah, potentially, but that's a magic question to be asking. You know, that's a magic thing to be telling me.
I know. I've been saying. Well, I'll firm it on here. I've been saying for a while. We have that Aubameyang. Just watch him prove it, essentially. But I'm just wondering, like, if you don't have that firepower debate, does Arsenal in their squad, despite us wanting a difference in midfield, right? Does that change the calculus at all for people?
For me, it does. Do you guys want to see the overall one?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, you can see the overall one, but just to carry on with Arsenal, I just don't know. Like Martin Odegaard, I don't know if I trust him for a full season.
Yeah.
Aubameyang as well. Like, you know, we saw against Norwich. He had chances.
I think you have to give us benefit of the doubt here, because we are only playing 1 game a week, and we're not going to have midweek games. And if we are only going to play midweek games, probably we'll be in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. So you have to give us benefit of the doubt here, and we're going to be a lot fitter than most of the teams, and Arteta will probably have a lot more time to even, you know, manage the games that he plays. So we will probably see a more refined game plans for each game that he plays. So you have to give us benefit of the doubt for that one. And you know what? I feel like a game we help us a lot more, and probably I think it secures us at least 6 to 9 more points than we would have had last season.
We've already proven with our new back. We've had 3 additions to the back line. We're gonna create a lot more chances. Like, most shots ever since 2017 or something like that. So we will create more chances. And even though we're very inefficient, those inefficient forwards with more chances will score more because they are good finishers. They're just inconsistent. So with Pepe getting 7 shots, or say they get 4 or 5 shots each a game, I think we'll definitely score a lot more.
I know, but also comparing that to a Norwich team at the end of the day, like
Yeah,
you
but
know,
we haven't done that to any other team, and we played the worst team in one of the worst teams in Premier League history in Sheffield United and still didn't get 30 shots. So
I don't know. I think we'll be better than last season. Obviously, we've upgraded our squad, and I hate that argument that people are saying that we haven't upgraded our squad. We clearly have. Like, you know, just to bring up the Ben White thing, you know, 3 key assists in 1 game. David Luiz did 2 the whole of last season. It's gonna make a huge difference. I know it will. I'm not like shitting on Arsenal by doing this because I do think it will be a lot closer. You know, we're gonna actually put up more of a fight this year, but I still don't trust the way we attack.
Yeah. So this is our average table, like based on all of ours put together. City came out first with like 4 points more than like Chelsea. So and according to us, Brighton and Wolves will have the same points. But yeah, like what do you quickly think on our overall? I think it's decent, to be honest.
I'm happy with City up top. I think that needed to happen. I think Arsenal's the contentious one for fans that, you know, looking out. I've said my reasons as for why, so I'm kind of happy with that. And I think the candidates, I'm uncomfortable with Watford personally. I still think that they're going to go up, and I think Southampton should be in there. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with the table. I don't know about you lads. I think there's only a couple positions up or down, 1 or 2, that generally I think might change. But overall, this seems pretty accurate to me.
I'd swap Palace and Villa. That's what I do.
You'd swap Palace and Villa, would you? I see. There's a couple for me as well. I think West Ham being 8th, I think that's ridiculous for me. I think, well, I don't think it's ridiculous, but I think, you know, at least Everton definitely come ahead of them. You've got to think, like, West Ham are playing European football. We know what West Ham were like when they played European football last time. I don't think they've got the kind of squad to be able to do that and then do it in the Premier League week in, week out and finish in 8th place. I think, you know, Rafa Benitez as Everton manager, I definitely think that Everton will come ahead of West Ham. And then obviously the Arsenal thing as well. I dropped them out of the top 4.
Yeah, so we all seem pretty content with it. Z?
Yeah, no, look, I'm very happy with the top 4. I mean, I would have liked to see Brentford relegated, but that's happening in this table. But no, honestly, I feel like, you know what, as long as Arsenal is in the top 4, like contention, even if it was 5th or 4th, I would have been happy because, you know what, I feel like, you know what, that is where we will probably end up at the end of the season. It might just be a matter of, you know, 2 or 3 points that separates us, but I feel like, you know, that's where we will end up. And as for Wolves, Brighton, Crystal Palace, yeah, I mean, we could switch their positions and it'll probably still be right, to be fair. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Wolves aren't finishing ahead of Palace. I wouldn't let that happen.
Brighton, maybe. I hear Z on that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Brighton,
no, I think generally, like, those points are the same. Like, theoretically, you know. So yeah.
It's always close in the middle and at the top and then at the bottom. But yeah, like that's our predictions. Karen had to drop out earlier, time to do, but we saw his predictions earlier in the video. Everyone seems kind of happy with it overall. Tomorrow we have our podcast coming out on our analysis and reaction to Arsenal versus Norwich, our first win of the season. Then on Friday we're doing a video on the Burnley preview because we played Burnley on the weekend. Yeah. Next week we'll be back with another podcast on Monday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and any podcast platform, and on Wednesdays on YouTube. And yeah, shout yourselves out before we go, just to make sure.
George V _AFC, you know where to find me, and then make sure you follow the Twitter @BotFooty.
Yeah. Willow.
Follow Z. Follow Willow. Follow CK. Follow everyone.
Yeah. I'm pure CKK. Karen is Karen BOP. Follow Ball of a Passion on TikTok. Follow BOP Footy on Twitter. subscribe, turn on post notifications, like this video, share this video, and yeah, we'll be seeing you on Friday.
Peace.